Hello everyone, welcome to Gamecidal Maniacs live streaming. Uh, Give me just a moment. I'm having some weird low video outputs. This normally doesn't happen. Well, it's looking okay, video quality wise. As far as I'm seeing, it's telling me I have a low video. Oh, and there it's back. Okay. Alright, sorry for the interruption, folks. Just trying to really make sure that this is, that this doesn't look like complete crap, because I care about you guys getting, a good, you know, streaming experience. I care about you guys. I love you all. So, we are going to go ahead and play Crash Bandicoot 2 today. I'm sorry about the last couple of live streams, Thursday and Fridays. Oh god, my TV is much louder than I thought it would be. I'm really sorry that the streams weren't up. My wife got sick, and I, just had to take care of her, and, I mean, I could have still done some live streaming, but I very much doubt you guys wanted to hear, someone constantly coughing and sounding like they're in general agony the entire time. So, just wanted to do a quick apology for that, but one way or another, we're getting through Crash 2 today, so... funny thing about this game, I actually never played it when I was a kid. This game came out right after my family got a PS1, and I, as a result, wasn't able to get it. The next time that I was able to get a game, we didn't constantly buy games. This is the first game console my family had, so we weren't constantly buying games. We weren't really a huge gaming household. So, when I finally was able to get a game, I got Crash 3 instead. Like, I mean, I had Crash 1 at the beginning, and ended up getting Crash 3 later on. And there were other games like Spyro that held my interest enough to play them, and they were new and different, but I ended up playing those instead of buying Crash 2. Some of my friends had Crash 2, but not me. So this is definitely the game that I played the least when I was a kid. Not that I don't like it. I actually like the game quite a bit. I think that they definitely improved. Like, the controls are smoother, the animations are higher quality. I actually don't like the theming in this one very much at all. Like, there's like a couple of levels that are jungle themed, but there's a lot of... I can't get a jump on this level anyways. There's a couple levels that are jungle themed, but they did a lot of Arctic and like tundra and like border of tundra kind of theming for this game, and I wasn't the biggest fan of it. The theming just seemed less concise. Even the third game had the time travel thing, which some people would say wasn't particularly well done, but I felt like it was more concise. I don't know. I mean, obviously, in my opinion, the one with the best theming was the first game, but this one did okay. And the level design is fine. I really have nothing against it. it always seemed to me like it was, I hate how they made the, I mean, I guess I can do this, but, whatever. I'm not trying to get 100%, so I'm just trying to run through the games as fast as possible. I've already said that, regarding the first game, so nothing has changed on that front. I will do the bonus stages, though, just because they're fun to kind of mess with. Another thing was, this game had a lot of, like, cybernetic versions of animals in it. I didn't really get it, like, at all. It's very much a cybernetic theme to this game, in general. And I did not horrifically care for it. Can I get over there, is the question. Forget. As this one is the one that I've played the least, this is probably where you're going to see the most senseless screw-ups. And there probably will be a lot of screw-ups. I just have not played this game nearly as much as the first and third ones. Definitely, though, the animations are a lot more smooth. The textures are a lot cleaner than the first game. There's a lot to like about it. I'm definitely not bitching about the game, because it's still an awesome game, but just not in the same spirit as the first game to me, so. As I shut up again, because I'm trying to get through this. I also never really cared for the crystals. I know that after the first game, they were, like, in every game, but I never really got the point of them. It's so rare that they're, like, outside of the common path that I just didn't think they were really worth the time. Like, they're almost always just smack right in the middle of your path. I think there's one level that I've ever missed a crystal on. I'm actually stupidly excited for the next, yeah, the Insane Trilogy. There we go. Ugh. Having Coco as a playable character in all 3 games. That's gonna be awesome. It's kind of a cool addition. Like, Vicarious Visions didn't have to do that, but they did, and it's just a nice choice. So, funny thing. I actually didn't, while I didn't have this game, when I was a kid, I actually did have a demo for this game. Thought I could clear it. And this level was the only level from Crash 2 on the demo disc. So I played this a ton. I think those are the ones that you have to just keep running under. Yep. Again, it's been forever. Oh, Huh, can I do it? Not even close. Somehow you can, like, get that without, without actually doing it the proper way, but I, for the life of me, can't remember how. No, it has something to do with doing a sliding, spinning jump with a belly flop at the end. I've done it a grand total of once, and I just don't really attempt to do it, except for like a passing, maybe I'll get it this time. Yeah, again, I don't get the point of the crystals. Like, story-wise, I get their point, and I guess it's to, like, give you an objective besides getting to the end of the level, but they're always just right there in your way. Crash levels so rarely have branching pathways that it's not really that big of a deal. One of the sewer levels has it, like, relatively easy to miss if you don't take a certain branching path. But other than that, it's pretty much it. It's kind of hard to fuck up. I will say, I am very glad that they added the slide and the slide jump. That was always something that I felt was really well executed in this game. Just giving you different options of how you play through a level. Giving you that nice high jump, the ability to duck, slide, all that. And it just feels really rewarding to you. You go down, don't you, pillar? Also, I think the animations in this game are freaking lovely. I also just felt like the music in some levels in this game was just a little too, how to put this, real music-y? If that makes any variety of sense. I'm not going for the gem, so I'm not really worried about time. Yeah, no, I don't know. There was just a handful of things in this game that I just didn't think were as good as the first game. And maybe it's just the fact that I don't have as much nostalgia for this game as I have for the first and third. I'm not saying, like, this game isn't good without nostalgia. Not at all, because it's still a fine game. But, I think my personal reason for not enjoying it as much is that I just don't have the same nostalgia for it that a lot of people have. Actually, in preparation for this marathon, I've been playing a good amount of the Game Boy Advance Crash games where they give you the double jump pretty much immediately. So I guess it takes a little while to get it in the first one, but I keep thinking that Crash right off the bat has a double jump, and that it wasn't just something that you got in the third game, like halfway through. Second boss, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. forgot how frequent the projector things are. I don't know, I just think this game is like my least favorite of the original Crash trilogy. Not that I don't like it. I still love it a huge amount, but it's definitely not one that I pick up as often as the first or third. Although I will say I have played this one more recently before this than the third game. Which is the one that I played the most as a kid, because as I said in the last live stream, I actually got stuck on Road to Nowhere in Crash 1 multiple times. So, yeah. Huh, I guess you could have fairly easily missed the crystal in this level. But that doesn't really feel fair to me either. Does it really count as, like, you know, challenge to find the gem when it's like, oh, there's one or two paths, and one of them might have it, or neither of them? Because there's a lot of points in this game where there are a split in the paths you can take where neither of them have a gem. So, I don't know, it feels a little more trial and error to me than, like, difficulty. As far as, like, getting crystals. I said gems, I meant crystals, I'm sorry. I am trying to grab as many lives as possible because the last warp room always kicks my ass in this game. In fact, one level in particular, the one with the shrinking beams and the assistance with the pushers. Yeah, that level actually always kicks my ass, and doesn't matter how many times I've played it. Also, N. Jin's boss fight, for some reason. I think it's because I don't want to be patient near the end of it when he's firing the laser, and, like, right before he's firing the laser is the only time you can hit him. Maybe? I don't know. Ah, the chase levels. I always loved these. This game in particular had, actually, I think it may have done the chase levels the best out of the Naughty Dog trilogy. For instance, I love those. The little explosive things that just bump you. I always thought that was really cool. It's a good way to, like, they don't kill you outright, but they can put you into situations you won't have as good of a chance of surviving in. I just thought that was always really clever. Also, I love the fact that Crash looks over his shoulder every now and then. That was always kind of clever. No, I will say, I like Nitro boxes in concepts. Until about Crash. Okay, there's actually two situations in which I hate the Nitro boxes. I hate them in Wrath of Cortex, which we're probably going to get to. Unfortunately, in my opinion. And I also hate the... I'm only going to give each bonus stage like 2 tries. If I can't do it in that, I'll just move forward. And I also hate them in... oh yeah, Wrath of Cortex, whenever there's an Atlas Sphere stage, which I'm not a big fan of anyways. I never felt the Atlas Spheres were a great idea. So... not a big fan of the Atlas Sphere stages. Where they just basically litter the entire area with Nitro boxes and call it a day. Well, that was good. And I also am not really a fan of Nitro crates in Twin Sanity when they do a similar thing with the Nitro boxes in the levels where Crash and Cortex are in a ball. Like when Crash and Cortex are in a little ball of struggling and they're just peppered everywhere, similar to the Atlas Sphere stages. Never really was a big fan of that. I never really got this plot. The fact that Cortex is trying to, like, manipulate everyone, or manipulate Crash into getting the crystals, and apparently Engine, or not Engine, Embryo is the one who's actually creating bosses and monsters and stuff like that to get rid of Crash. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Also, this is a very unfortunate boss fight. Like, everyone talks about how easy Papu Papu is, but there's almost, as long as you're paying attention, there's almost no chance of even getting hurt in this boss. You just stay out of the way of the path of crates. Like, there's having bosses that have some challenge to them, and then there's having bosses that have essentially no challenge. And I would say this is essentially a no challenge boss. Like, I get it, kids game and all that, but... eh. Yeah, I really just don't get the plot in this one. Like, I feel like it was a little too convoluted. The first game was like, oh, your girlfriend's kidnapped or captured, go save her. And Crash 3 is like, oh, Cortex wants crystals, because Evil Mask says so, and he has a time machine. Go get him, guys. Oh yeah, that's the thing, by the way, in case you didn't know. Jump on Polar a whole bunch, and you get a bunch of lives. Nice little helpful thing. I unfortunately feel like I just don't have as much to say about this game. Maybe it's I don't have as many anecdotes about it. I'm willing to admit that I don't enjoy it as much. It's not to say I don't like it. I love it, but there just isn't nearly as much to talk about. Besides, oh god, the ice physics. They just throw you. It's like they save up momentum and say, yeah, you just have this much. Even when it's a total moment of ice, doesn't work like that. It's more like a complete vacuum for momentum than anything else. Ah, forgot. Those fall before you get to them. Ah, shoots. How did I only get 26 lives? I thought I had 30 something. Because of jumping on Polar's head. Whatever. I've only died once in this level so far, so it's not like that's the issue. Jesus. Oh, jeez. I should not be alive. Well done. Alright. Yep, forget about it. I'm gonna move on. Don't care that much. Again, I don't get gameplay-wise what the point of the crystals is. Like, they're almost always just right there. Maybe I can do it again? Ah, well. Not like it matters. I will say, I did like the intros and outros to the levels more in this game than, say, Crash 3. Just the fact that you, like, go into an area instead of just kind of warping in with a warp ball was kind of nice. I do like how they handled warping in this game better than I did in 3. And it wouldn't have really made much sense to have, like, a warp entrance room in 3, story-wise. I get that. But also, I have no idea how to explain Wrath of Cortex. Like, so they're in a warp room, I get that, but they also call it, like, a virtual warp room, so are they actually going places? Or is it just, like, a virtual reality thing? Never made much sense to me. Not that I really needed to, I mean... Like anyone's really looking for too much sense in their Crash Bandicoot. I get that. It's a game. Move on, but... Just never seemed to make a massive amount of sense. And there's another crystal. Gosh darn it. Well, that's good. I don't know, maybe the crystals were just a really easy way to mark completion. Like, yeah, you've definitely progressed, because you got a crystal, but... I feel like getting through the level did that fine. I don't really feel like the crystals were necessary, I guess. I never felt unfulfilled with completing a level in Crash Bandicoot just because it didn't give me a plot token, you know? And that's all the crystals really feel like. Like, they're like the worst example of a MacGuffin that I can think of. And I hate that term, MacGuffin. Because it's vacuous and means practically nothing. Like, I get what it means, worthless... A worthless plot device that only serves to, you know, move the plot along. I get that. But I feel like it's so rare that something is truly worthless in a story. Even if it's obviously like, yeah, we wanted excuses for the heroes to have to go somewhere. I feel like usually they integrate, most stories integrate well enough that it's like, well, it was important. Without it, you wouldn't be able to, you know, the hero wouldn't be able to move forward. And I feel like as long as there is something tying progression together, people call it a MacGuffin. Which I don't agree with in the slightest. Like, just because it helps you progress doesn't mean it's a worthless plot coupon, I guess. Is what I'm saying. I think people are too hard on games and, like, movies and even books for using quote-unquote MacGuffins. But I will say it definitely seems in Crash Bandicoot like they are just the crystals are just pointless, like added gameplay elements. I feel like the game wouldn't feel any different if you just put them right in front of the goal, I guess is what I'm saying. And that there's no real reason that they have to be somewhere in the middle of the level. And most of them you pretty much have to purposefully dodge to not collect them. It's pretty crazy. I'm also not going to be going for the secret levels in either this game or the second one. Because I'm, again, just trying to get through the games. Not really concerned with, you know, obtaining everything in them. And most of the bonus levels are just kind of more of the same anyways. Or more of, like, just another level in the same theme anyways, so I don't feel terrible for saying that I'm going to skip them, I guess. I also feel like not enough games use sunsets to their full potential. Like, I feel like Crash Bandicoot with Sunset Vista, this level, and like one or two others really use like sunset lighting well. You don't see it very much, is what I'm saying. Ah, shoot. And again, I had said earlier that I'm not a super big fan of using just throwing nitro crates everywhere and calling it a day. But I feel like it works in these levels because you can see them coming adequately enough, and they're imposing when they are there. It's like, oh, I have to be careful. There are nitro carts. Or crates. Gosh, darn it. Oh, well, there we go. Should have paid more attention. And I know I've said that I like this game before, but I really do want to stress that I do actually like this game. Having criticisms of it does not mean I don't like it. I have criticisms of some of my favorite games of all time. I feel like the only way that, without being an asshole, I feel like the only way that the gaming genre is going to grow is if people continue to criticize games. If we just hand accept everything, it's not going to be good. But we also have to learn to give some praise. There are so many people who are going to jump to criticism as their only form of critique of a game, period. Kind of dismissing the good things about the game. Or just failing to mention that there are good things about the game. It doesn't happen as much as I, like, want to make it out to happen, but it does happen, and I feel like it's worth noting. It feels like most of the time when we actually say something good about a game, it's so that we can put down another game saying, well, this game did this well. But, I don't know, maybe I'm just extrapolating things that aren't necessarily true. For some reason, I could have sworn you could spin those, the eels. This actually might be my least favorite level theme. It's just not super interesting, and it's not even the whole, like, does anyone actually like sewer levels thing, because I feel that that's, like, not really fair to say. Oh, this. This is the area that has the colored gem, and I'm not going down it. This takes forever to get back, and I don't really agree with the whole, just kill yourself to come back thing. I feel like that's, like, cheating it, I guess. I don't know, I can't really... I tried thinking of a game that, like, is above criticism, and I can't really think of one. I've already said that, like, all of my favorite games have problems with them, but... See, I think this is the level where it's actually kind of easy to miss the gem. Or not gem, crystal. Because you go down there and you can't go back. I think. Oh, jeez, Wish I had a mask right now. Yeah, because you can miss this gem completely by not going down the way with Wumpa Fruit in front of it. I am not a game developer, no. No, I would love to try my hand at it. I mean, I am actually a programmer. That's, like, software development is what I do for a living, so... It's not an issue of, like, being able to code or anything like that. I just, I don't know. I'm lazy. I don't want to take the time to learn model development. I don't know if I really have the patience to sit there and actually do model development, do animation, and everything like that. It takes a lot of time, a lot of money, and there's a lot of chance for loss on investment if even the most minor of things go wrong. If, like, you didn't do a good enough job advertising it, if, like, there are so many games on Steam and stuff that just go nowhere because no one knows about them. Yeah, I really can't do the art side, essentially. You're pretty right about that. I also just, I know I don't have a fine enough eye for detail to make a model that doesn't look like shit and more importantly, realize that it looks like shit, I'd go, no, that's probably good enough, and it'd probably look absolutely terrible. While you could do game development in Java, like, of course, one of the greatest game development Java stories out there is Minecraft, obviously. And people who are watching this in post, I'm responding to live chat about someone mentioning their programming information. But yeah, you can make games in Java. I wouldn't want to. As much as I hate to say it, learning to script in Lua and just doing most of the stuff through something like Unreal or Unity and using whatever proprietary things they recommend for the actual programming side of it is going to be your best bet if you want to do anything that's like, you know, large-scale polygonal game development. If you wanted to do something 2D simple and you don't have that much programming experience, I can actually vouch for Game Maker. It's not horrible. And I would definitely say if you are into game development, you can always give it a shot on your own free time and, like, just kind of see where your limits are. Oh, I'm gonna shut my whore mouth now. God, I don't get what the deal is with... Actually, I do know what the deal with Komodo Moenjo is. For those of you who don't follow, or who didn't follow the development of this game at all, apparently, originally, the boss was supposed to, like, home in on you with the saber tosses, and you had to actually aim to hit the Komodo bros into each other and things like that, but they took it out because it was a little too hard for an early boss, and they know where they wanted all the bosses, so they made it easier. And thank you for saying that you'll sub. I really appreciate it. I actually love doing this, and I haven't had the chance to do it as much as I'd like to, but I have a lot of stuff coming up in the future that I'm actually really, really looking forward to. And I'll definitely take a look at your stuff after you give me a link. And thank you as well. You know, I do love doing this streaming stuff, and I do appreciate any of you who watch, contribute to the chat, everyone who subscribes, obviously, because I am not looking to, like, change careers or anything, but having people watch and knowing people are watching gives me a reason to want to continue to do this. And the reason that I stopped actually doing my Let's Plays for a good while was the fact that I just wasn't getting any views. That's actually changed relatively lately. I checked out my channel recently and saw that a lot of people, or that like a lot of my videos had like 20 or more views on them for my old Let's Play that was like months and months old. Better part of a year, I think, actually. But I'm not really looking to make this permanent. I wouldn't mind doing or video game reviews in my own time, but I'm definitely not looking to change what I'm doing at the moment. I like my job. I love doing program development, or programming in general. Software development, especially, is where I love being. But yeah, I've done small reviews in my own time. I might do some video reviews after I, you know, basically stop being so lazy, get some better video editing software, and have a little more time on my hands, which I am getting lately. I've been getting more time to do things that I enjoy lately, which is why I'm doing this. So I might do some game reviewy stuff later. Think JonTron, Kid Icarus, not like a rip-off of those, but like that sort of vein. But with more of a technical eye. Don't have the timing on this at all. You know what? Screw it. I'm gonna go kill him. Because I don't feel like dealing with it. Takes a little longer, but takes less time than me running back and forth doing this 5 times because I don't want to have to go and kill them. God, I feel super bad at this right now. This is some of the worst I've ever done at this level. Or at this game, period. And hello to you as well, other commenter who, I'm sorry I didn't catch your name. I'm glancing every, like, 5 seconds over at the chat, and that's it. Hold on a second. Leonora? I'm sorry if I butchered that. So very, very sorry. It's not the pressure of people watching. My last live stream, if you guys didn't catch it, was actually me doing the entirety of Crash Bandicoot, a game that I have not memorized in like 2.5 hours or so. I don't really mind people watching me. I just keep staring over at the chat. Nothing wrong. Don't stop commenting. I love it. I just need to remember to pay attention to the game and, you know, look at save times instead of deciding to glance. Those go down? Huh? Learn something new every day. I had no idea that those platforms actually drop into the water. Haha. Oh my god. Doing absolutely shit now. That's alright though. Can't all be perfect all the time. I guess I'm still making decent time at this. I'm expecting 2.5 to 3 hours to finish this game. And we're not far off from that. I always hated this part. In fact, I've always hated any game with stupidly fast spinning saw blades. The worst of which is definitely Conker's Bad Fur Day. God damn it! You Bend Blues, the chapter You Bend Blues in Conker's Bad Fur Day is just god-awful. I love that game. Again, it's actually one of my absolute favorite games. In fact, it might be one of my proudest things I am to have in my collection is a copy of Conker's Bad Fur Day. See, I don't remember which path has the crystal, and I don't want to waste a bunch of time, but oh well. Nope, that's the end of the level. I don't already have it, do I? No, I do not. It's fine, I don't mind going back a little bit. Actually, there is a part of Conker's Bad Fur Day I hate much more than You Bend Blues. The first time I played the game, I actually failed literally for hours trying to beat the lava boarding segment. The part where you race people, or sorry, hoverboarding over lava. Where you hoverboard over lava and try and chase down the guys who stole your money. The cavemen who stole your money. Out of context, that sounds completely nuts. But, yeah. I would fail on that section for literally entire hours. I know some people who do it like their first or second try, but I always thought that I had to do it holding forward, like going as fast as possible the entire time. And if you're going as fast as possible, tapping on, like, slightly tilting your analog stick to the side will send you just flying into a wall. Alright. So I think this is the first level where you're chased by a polar bear? I think? Nope. This is another polar riding level. I like these. These are fun. No, I actually do want to talk about something with this. Regarding vehicles in Crash Bandicoot. Because when we get to Wrath of Cortex, I'll actually mention how much I hate the vehicles in that game. And I do. But I actually like this, and like most of the vehicle sections in this game, barring the fact that I'm not the biggest fan of, the jetpack, but I still think it's fine. I don't have the utter hatred of it that some people have. I thought that was ice. I honestly thought that was ice. And I don't think I hit the previous checkpoint. Shit. Ha. This might take a while to go back through. But yeah, the reason I actually really like this and like the Warthog from the first game, but don't really like the vehicles in Wrath of Cortex, is that this game, and I thought that was ice again. Shit. Alright, okay, sorry, focusing. And finishing my explanation. Really, riding the Warthog and riding Polar are pretty much just the standard platforming levels, but with the inability to stop moving forward. Like, yes, you move forward at the same speed and everything like that, but... Ah, son of a bitch. But it still plays like a platforming level. You're still moving forward. You're still jumping to avoid obstacles. You're still doing all the platformy things, just with an inability to stop moving forward. Whereas in Wrath of Cortex, when you're, say, driving the Humvee, you no longer feel, or any of the vehicles really, you no longer feel like you're doing any of the platforming stuff. You feel like you're doing you're playing a completely different game all of a sudden. That really does change things. And I feel like this is why a lot of people are okay with playing as, say... Actually, I'll extrapolate this to Sonic Adventure 2. And the first Sonic Adventure game. Why some people are fine with the alternate character styles in the first game, but hate playing as, say... Well, Big the Cat in the first game, but can't stand playing as Robotnik and Tails in the second game. And it's very simple. It does, in the first game, no matter what, you still feel like you're doing very similar things. Yes, Knuckles is slower than Sonic, can glide, can punch, all that stuff, but you're still, in essence, going through a similar level architecture, and you're still essentially doing what you did as Sonic, just with a bit of a different gameplay aim. It still feels like Sonic gameplay, but fuck you, Death Route, or no Death Route. It still feels like playing a like the same Sonic game, with the addition of you're just not Sonic anymore, and you have a slightly different aim. Yes, the gliding is different, but you're still running around, you're still in very similar, if not the same environments, things like that. Even when playing as Amy, one of the less liked, the reason why people like it so much less is because you are kind of, it slows it down, the gameplay aim is different, and the controls are a bit different. Playing as Big the Cat is a complete departure to what you were previously doing. I love the fact that you can still see the rest of the level from the bonus level in this level. I just really love that. I just wanted to put that out there. I really like this level. I'm not a big fan of the bonus level itself. Going back and forth is kind of silly, but yeah, it's about preserving the game feel. And I feel like most of the vehicles in Crash Bandicoot games do that fairly well, outside of, say, the plane sections in Warped, or even the motorcycle sections in Warped feel a little off. But in Wrath of Cortex, almost none of the vehicle sections feel the same. And it's not any more gratifying to use, say, the big, like... the thing that's basically a ripoff of the suit that Ripley uses at the... goddamn that monkey. The thing that looks like the suit that Ripley uses at the end of Aliens. That thing doesn't feel more gratifying to use than just platforming. It also doesn't really feel like it adds a restriction. It feels like it just makes the gameplay more clunky. I hate that monkey. And I should probably stop talking, but entertaining discussion. Yeah, it's all about preserving the game feel with the vehicles, just adding something to it. Suddenly having to, like... suddenly not being able to stop going forward adds a difficulty and adds a new element to the gameplay while still preserving the same gameplay feel. You're still moving left and right, you're still jumping, everything feels the same. And it's still, like, at a relatively similar but sped up pace. It still feels very, very responsive, very fluid. It does a great job of preserving the game feel, and I'm just repeating myself at this point, but I hope you guys get what I mean. Like, alternate gameplay methods and styles don't have to ruin the actual gameplay itself. You can have both, but if it doesn't feel like the same game anymore, then you're doing it wrong. Like, even this level, it's still entirely the same Crash Bandicoot gameplay, just that you have a restriction of having to move forward with a camera perspective change. This is how you do alternate gameplay styles correctly. Another example of this done wrong is, I'm going to bring up another Sonic game, Sonic 06 with the Mach Speed sections. It no longer feels like the rest of the game, because all of a sudden you're thrust into an alternate control scheme. The jumping doesn't feel the same way. Hitting obstacles doesn't result in the same thing. It punishes you in a different way, and that doesn't feel gratifying or more challenging. It feels unfair. This isn't what you're prepared for, especially when it punishes failure so harshly with such a small margin. Huh, I guess I have to go back there. Okay. Forgotten about this. Another game that does this actually fairly well, even though I don't like the game that much, is Mega Man X. I actually don't like Mega Man X very much for my own reasons that maybe one day I'll explain. In fact, I'm not a big fan of the Mega Man series, period. I can acknowledge where they're good, don't get me wrong, but I'm just not the biggest fan of them. But, I can hugely admire the ride armor sections in the games because, because they still work. It still feels like playing Mega Man. And yes, it's more restrictive, but it doesn't feel like it's making the game more difficult. You're trading features of gameplay rather than surrendering elements of gameplay, is how I feel about it. I actually love that they included this. The fact that suddenly you get to do a combination of the running sections and the riding sections. But this actually emphasizes my point in the fact that the two different types of level are so similar. Not in a bad way either, but it shows you just how the entire point is still keeping the same core gameplay feeling. And this doesn't, it just feels like a much faster and frantic version of the previous gameplay. My boy. Sorry, in case you guys can't hear, Cortex talking, he said my boy, and it reminded me of Zelda CDI. Zelda CDI is actually a series I would love to live stream, with the complete knowledge that I will suffer the entire time. However, great. Not what I meant to do at all. I'm not about to spend the money to get a Philips CDI, and I'm definitely not about to spend the money to get the games, because god damn it, they're expensive. They're really expensive. Like, realistically, the only way I see myself, god damn it, the only way I see myself ever streaming those games is if someone's kind enough to donate a Philips CDI and the games to me. And I'm going to be entirely honest with you guys, even then, first of all, that's incredibly unlikely, and even then, there's a chance that I wouldn't play them. I mean, I'll probably play anything that people donate to me, just because I'd be very gracious for someone donating games. But I don't even have, like, a P.O. box set up and everything yet, because this is still, like, stupidly casually that I'm doing this streaming thing. Oh, come on. Yeah, I should have. This boss is actually one that gets me. I apparently just don't think about pre-planning in this boss too much. it's a problem. I even don't think this is a very super well made boss. I actually don't think really any of the bosses in this particular game are really well designed. And you can make an argument that the worst part of Crash Bandicoot games are their design, or bosses, like the boss designs in general. That one's safe. Okay. I definitely prefer playing the levels to playing the bosses. Sorry, I was totally not paying attention. I was looking at my phone. Which is where I'm doing, like, the live chat and everything like that. I'm actually doing the chat from my phone because I actually use my TV for my computer. I do a lot of PC gaming, so I actually really like just having my nice big screen TV available for PC gaming. I have a desk or a coffee table that folds up to come up to like my chest where I keep my keyboard and mouse. It's actually a very nice setup. Duh. I don't know, this particular level I'm not a big fan of. I never, like, so, the hanging and climbing sections are fine. I really have no issue with them. But this particular level, I'm just not a big fan of. I feel like the climbing speed is a little too slow. I feel like the enemies in this section are a little too annoying. Just not a big fan of this level. Oh boy. There we go. Now I've heard it common trope, apparently, is people hating sewer levels. I've, like, I see it from, like, most sewer levels are water levels. I get that. But in general, I've never really understood the complaint that sewer levels suck. I've just never seen that much to hate about them, I guess. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I'm actually going to take a minute. I got a phone call, and I just really need to make sure it is not from my work. Give me just a second. Okay, I have no idea who the voicemail is from. Okay. Everything's cool. Sorry about that, guys. If it had been my work, I obviously would have had to end the stream and just make sure everything was cool, but it wasn't. But I unfortunately did have to check that, so we are all good. I am really sorry about that. Oh, I hate these levels. Like, a lot. Just nothing about them works for me. I don't really like these bomb plant things. I don't like these. They move in weird ways. I don't know. We're getting into a lot of the level themes that I just don't like from this game. Surprise, surprise, like I've said before, there are things that I am not a super big fan of in this game, and we're getting into the majority of them now. I'm not just going to turn into, like, someone who's going to constantly complain, because I think the game isn't that bad. There's not that much to complain about, but I'm not a super big fan of this level theme. I'm not a super big fan of, like, the level's design, what it's trying to do, things like that. So, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it like I think it's awesome if I just don't. There's probably something up there. Ah, well. Here's why I really hate this level. The bees are just awful. Like, I know they're not that hard to outrun, but I've never thought they were super, like, good as far as a design idea went. I know you can spin them away, but they're just annoying, and I don't think they're Like, with stuff like these gates that you have to, like, run, like, time well, I don't know. I don't really like the bees. And this mechanic never sat super well with me. Like, every time people say that, like, this is their favorite Crash game, this is inevitably what I think of. As for my reason of why. It's just a lot of awkward shit. It's almost like they were like, hey, you know the levels where you're, you know, riding on Polar or running away from a polar bear or something? Yeah, let's go ahead and basically act like you have to play a normal platforming level in such a situation. It doesn't meld well with me. Like, I even think levels like Tomb Raider from Crash 3 Warped are better than this. And I really don't mind the levels with the Firefly in the third game. This game, not as well, but the ones in the third game I thought were fine. So, the fact that people call this their favorite Crash game where there's stuff like that in it, never sat super well with me. Of course, all a matter of taste. I'm never gonna, you know, argue with someone about, like, what their favorite game is. That's stupid. Gaming is about loving games, not hating them. At least, in my opinion. Not everyone will agree with me on that, but... I know exactly what my voicemail earlier was. I know exactly what it was now. Okay. So, I had a friend say, like, it was a voicemail from someone that I was pretty sure was one of my friends, but one of those friends that, you know... Oh, okay. I've said it before. I'm lazy. I have a bad habit of not putting people in my address book when I get their number. So I wasn't like 100% sure of the number. And they said like something that I'm not going to say because I don't want to out them on what they said. Not that it was like anything bad. I just don't want to like basically directly say who it was. But they said something... And it said, that's my new catchphrase, this is person's name, and then hung up on the voicemail. Now I know who it, now I know why. Also who it was. Like, they said it quickly, but I'm like, maybe that's not the person who I think it is, because why would they just do that? Not in their personality to, like, say if they have a new catchphrase and then hang up. It's because of a board game. Specifically the Rick and Morty, Meeseeks box board game. If you haven't played it, it's a game where if you haven't achieved the goal, you get to take dares to get points since you didn't achieve the goal you wanted. So dares are an alternate method for getting points. And one of them is call someone you know and tell them you have a catchphrase. Or tell them your new catchphrase. So that's what it was. That's fine. I was just really confused for a little bit because I was racking my brain and then I remembered the board game and yeah. If you ever get the chance, pick it up. It's actually not bad. Just make sure that you're playing it with a group of friends that you know well enough who aren't going to, like, be weird about potential socially awkward behavior. That's really it. Sorry, completely derailing things, but... I've actually never really minded the ice theming for levels. They're definitely not as bad as water levels, which I don't know why anyone would enjoy. As a kid, my thoughts on ice and water levels was always, oh, look at you, you know how to adjust your physics in your physics engine. Good for you. Even as a kid, I thought like, oh yeah, your programmer knows how to make friction different. Like, it doesn't really... It adds restriction, but in a way that you're not gaining anything extra besides challenge, and even then, it doesn't horrifically feel like challenge. But at the same time, I don't really mind that with ice levels too much. It's water levels that really bug me, because ice levels have the possibility to make you go faster, and that feels like a nice, interesting challenge, but water levels just change the control scheme in a way that, like, removes the same game feel, like I was talking about earlier. Or, in the case of some platformers, it doesn't actually change the control scheme or anything, except for the fact that it lets you jump over and over and over again, a la Mario. And makes you go slower. And it's actually always been my issue with Mario level, or water levels in 2D Mario games, is the fact that you're not actually, like... It's not that you're swimming. It's more that you're doing the standard platforming, but much slower and with infinite jumps. Which is interesting when you think about it that way, but it just... It doesn't feel super good, I guess, is my problem. Doesn't really feel like you're getting anything out of it besides additional annoyance, I guess. And I can take games getting harder or having additional, like, difficulty added to them, but trite annoyance is such an such an annoying thing to me. Yeah, well, that was dissatisfying. I always wondered if you don't hit that, in, like, a lot of these levels where they have the nitro a little bit before the, or they have the nitro detonation box before, a little bit before the end of the level, not, like, right at the exit. I wonder if they ever just put some nitro boxes just to screw with you if you don't hit the box. I've never seen any, and I've never really taken out the time to check if they ever do that, but it'd be kind of funny if they did. Alright, level 18 out of 25. We're actually making fairly decent time. I mean, fairly decent. It could be better. I could be doing much better. Look at the speed runs for Crash Bandicoot 2, and oh, good! Good for you! I have no depth perception, apparently, and fuck you! God. Jeez, It's not a big deal, it's just annoying. And that's another actual problem I have with Crash Bandicoot 2, is once you get to this point in the game, it feels like they worry less about challenge and more about annoyance. Like this goddamn monkey! Ah, burn in hell. And that probably isn't a fair assessment, I'll admit that. Like, it's probably just me projecting. But it really does feel, to me at least, like, at this point in the game, they're focusing more on annoying the player and doing tricky things rather than adding difficulty. And again, I could be wrong. I could just go ahead. I could be that guy who's calling it unfair because I'm apparently a child who can't deal with not winning. But I like to think that in this case I'm not wrong and that there actually is some well, that's wonderful. There is actually some annoying attributes to the game design at this point. Also, I think I'm right on this one, but I think that's the destroyed castle from the first game. I might be wrong about that. That's always what I've seen it as, which, if that is, that's cool. The big, like, spire-y thing in the background, it looks a lot like the big castle from the first game. Sorry, just watching this monkey. Because I really don't want to die to it. Ha! You. I'm gonna die. Oh, nope. I'm good. I'm good. I also really like how they handled health in this game. I know that sometimes in later levels, they starve you on Aku Aku masks. But it's got a very Mario mushroom feel to it. But I love the fact that it kind of, like, means that in levels where they want you to have it... I thought that was moving faster. It means that in levels that they want you to have protection in, they'll give you one or two. Especially before hard sections. But they'll usually sprinkle in, like, one or two even in the later levels. And if you're playing well enough, you'll get, you know, the invincibility, which I always thought was a really cool reward for not messing up. Like, it might be a little too generous, I'll admit that, but you still can't blaze through stationary, like, not stationary, but, like, you can't blaze through obstacles that, like, pits and walls and things like that. So you still actually have to, you know, play the game, but for a little bit, enemies, which are generally more of an annoyance than anything else, are a little easier to handle. It's just nice that they take the time to reward their players a little more, I feel. I think this is the last level of this theme. Because I'm pretty sure the rest of the game is 2 jetpack levels. The level with the shrink rays. And 2 levels with a different theme. God, what is it? Oh, that's why I fucking hate these levels. Right. Stupid guys with a hammer. There's another level theme that I'm just not thinking of at the moment. I know I'm just not thinking of it, but there's another level theme in the next warp room. Huh, thought that the spin radius was shorter than that. Have to jump over this part. See, I hate, like, this level would be fine, but I hate the fact that it takes away your ability to spin normally. I wish they had instead mapped the, like, the duck button, I guess you could say. Oh, don't do it, don't do it! You son of a bitch. Don't. God damn it! The combination of the beehives and the electric fences is annoying to me. Like, it's fine here where you can duck on. Oh my fucking god! I hate this level. This is undoubtedly my least favorite level in the game. It just bugs me that you can't spin normally. The restrictions that it adds, again, talking about preserving game feel while not limiting your player in a cruel way. It feels like I lose... Don't. It feels like I lose gameplay... Oh my fucking god. It feels like I'm losing gameplay options without gaining any worthwhile fun benefits. And this is, quite frankly, always the level that I dread the most when I'm playing this game. I guess you can jump and spin, so that makes it a little better, but these levels just never sat right with me. Didn't know he would push you. That's funny. I don't know. Not a super big fan of this level, I guess, is all I really have to say. It's just not fun. is just not a fun level. Like, there's too much stuff that basically requires slow, methodical platforming while completely taking away your ability to do so. Not platforming, but yeah, platforming. You're still jumping and avoiding obstacles. There's way too much... I wish. Like this. This requires you to really... look where you're going and pay attention, but you don't have the time to do that with these fucking bees. Got me feeling like Nicolas Cage up in here bitching about the bees. I don't think there's any other level that's going to make me, like, redo shit as much as this one does, thankfully. But I'm willing to admit that this one is the level that I am undeniably the worst at. Where I just don't know what I'm doing sometimes. And I'm sorry for you guys having to watch me fail repeatedly. I know it's not super fun to just watch someone suck at something, but... fuck it. Whatever, I think I'm relatively close to the end of this level now. Whatever, maybe most people would agree with me that this level's rather shit, but... I don't know. I don't like it, I don't think it's very good. And I dread playing it every time I come back to it, so... That's how I feel about it. But it's over now. Now it's just my least favorite boss. God help me with this one. Oh, but we get a sort of cutscene thing. Alright. Well, at least I can save. So that's great. I hate these platforms as well. I need to stop bitching, I know. I also really don't like this boss. Like, it's not hard, it's just, again, really, really annoying. So you have to hit each of these things, like, way too many times. Oh, come on. Again, not hard, just annoying in the fact that you only really have one bit of health makes this obnoxious. Ah, shoot. And this part, like, the opportunities you have to damage the missile silos are, like, painfully infrequent compared to the first section of the boss, and I don't have the patterns memorized, because I've only really beaten this boss, like, a handful of times, so I've only played the game so many times, and I'm definitely not revisiting this boss without, like, having to. Come on. Just fall down already. And the worst part of it is really the last part of it. This part right here. Because now it's a matter of trying to just bash him in the weak point before he attacks you. Only having one health to do this whole boss with is utterly infuriating. Because it seriously means you have to do the whole thing perfectly, aside from, like, you know, accuracy in hitting him. And I feel like the actually hitting him part feels really wonky as well. Like, aiming for his different parts just doesn't feel super good. Don't get me wrong, he telegraphs all of his attacks pretty good. But I feel like, especially for that last little bit of the fight, he just doesn't give you enough opportunities to attack him. Aside from, like, one or two hits before each attack. Where's it coming from this time? Nope, shit. He just flies all over the place. Alright. I think I can get about one or two Wumpa in before he fires his laser. Yeah, 2 seems about right. Oh! Hey, look at that! Done. Thank golly. That's actually one of the easier times I've had beating him before. So, last warp room. Not too much left to do. And yeah. Oh, right. The nightlight levels. The Firefly levels. That's the other theme in this last section. How could I forget? Alright. This right here, this is my least favorite level besides the B one. My second least favorite level. And it's not that I mind the side-scrolling crash levels, just something about this level never gelled with me. In fact, the first time that I actually beat this game without it being on an emulator, this level actually caused numerous game overs for me. Hopefully that won't be the case this time, but mostly because of those things and the assistance in this level. Also, there are fairly large gaps between checkpoints at points in this level. A lot of the timing is kind of awkward. A lot of the enemy placements are awkward. Just not a super big fan of this level, period. Sorry, I'm so quiet. I'm horrifically concentrated on beating this. I really don't want to be here for like over an hour doing this one level, because it would come to that if I don't take my time and like really get this well. Like, this level, every time, is the one that, just completely trips me up. Ah! These enemies. I suck at their timing. And I hate that they go back and forth. Like, it would be one thing if, like, one color of them went back and forth between the two shapes. But it's the fact that they... like, that they look completely the same. And it doesn't seem like super obvious when they're going to change their shape. To me, at least. So, spend a lot of time completely screwing up when they're probably going to change their shape. Which leads to a lot of death on my part. And then you put me in small places, or like narrow places like this, and I'm not super good at this level. Namely the enemies in it, and I always, see, it's not the fact that they change; it's the fact that it's trying to anticipate when they're going to change, and the fact that if you go to attack them at the time when they're about to change, you take damage. And a level that doesn't exactly give away health, that's going to result in a lot of player death. And as it's the game that changed the variable, not the player, it feels cheap. It might not be cheap, but it feels cheap. It feels unnecessarily punishing to the player. Of course, that could just be me. I could just be bitching for no reason. And then I know that there's every chance that I just need to get good, so to speak. Yeah, what the hell, I could do with a life or two if I can get one. Doesn't cost you any lives if you die, so... Can try a bonus section. And as I remember, this is also a really long level. Forget it. I don't want to deal with the timing on those piston jumps. Ugh, these guys. Like I said before, nothing in this level is necessarily hard. There's just very annoying aspects about them. The fact that the enemies change back and forth in the method of how to beat them. The fact that those enemies push you into hazards. There's a lot of small nitpicky things that... Oh, and the fact that they advance. I feel like I'd be fine with these enemies if they didn't advance every time they effectively pushed you. That's easier than I remember. There's a second level of this theme. There has to be. There has to be another level of this theme. Rocket, Night Fight, Pack Attack, Spaced Out. Huh, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that is the only level of that type. Maybe I'm just bitching unnecessarily. That wasn't as hard as I particularly remembered it being. Or having as many, like, annoying aspects as I remembered. Then again, the last time I did play this level, I was, pretty sure it was 2 a.m. And I'd been up for longer than I should have been. Oh, one change that actually would have made this level much better. Is actually entirely to do with the controls. I get what they were trying to go for here. But just making the jump button, the up button, and making the, yeah, making the jump button the button to go up, and shit. the jump button to go up and the O button to go down. And, oh, I didn't even know that could hurt you. Would have felt actually quite a bit better. Like, jump button to go... Sorry. Jump button to go up, O to go down, because you actually kind of already have... Oh, there we go. I was stuck. Those buttons already kind of have those associations to begin with, because of the fact that they're associated to jumping and ducking. So that one change actually would have made this level, or these jetpack levels, much more enjoyable. But instead, up moves Crash down. Jump makes him go forward. Duck makes him go backwards. There's a lot of unnecessary problems with the way that they design the controls of this level. And you can get used to it, don't get me wrong, but I feel like people wouldn't complain about the level nearly as much if they had used a control scheme like that. Because I know people could bitch about the controls of this level. Because other than the controls, the level preserves the rest of the game's game feel fine. It's still about going through a 3D space like collecting things, avoiding obstacles, and even the controls do have similarities. But the few complaints that I do have do mar the experience a good deal. So, I don't know, that's my take on the jetpack in Crash 2. These levels I actually don't have too much of an issue with, except when it comes to getting the gem. Because there's a fairly infamous part of this level where you actually have to kind of go forward blindly to belly flop a bunch of crates and then come back for the lightning bug. And you can only really know to do that on your like second or third time through the level, but it just doesn't feel super good. I will say the Firefly levels from Crash 3 I actually like quite a bit. Maybe it's because I'm like already have like, I don't know, pyramid phobia, but having to go into a pyramid in the complete dark with a small, potentially like easy to lose light source with things walking around and trying to attack you actually had a good like tiny horror element to it. I actually really liked it. Yeah, and yeah, it freaked me out, but in a good way. Shit. Oh well, got a life. Probably gonna lose it here, but I got a life. So that's cool. Oh god, don't run out, don't run out. Hey, look at that. Made it far enough. Alright. And honestly, I don't find this level too difficult. Again, really good preservation of game feel, even with a gimmick. You're still doing the same things. And to be honest, if the level actually was completely lit up, this actually wouldn't be that hard of a level in its own right. But it's how it handles the level design with the gimmick that really makes the level stand out and interesting. It would just be a generic level without it. Oh, I thought I froze for a second there. I was terrified. Come on. I think I'm relatively close to the end now of this level. No, I'm almost done with the game, but... And I will say, I do actually think that these levels are a great... Oh, I shouldn't be alive. I think I just walked on that pit. I think this level is actually a great expansion on the levels with a similar, like, no light mechanic in the first game. Because now getting hurt doesn't, you know, take away your light source. Alright, I don't think this level is too hard, but I think I'm going to save before the last level, just to be sure. Because I actually don't remember how hard the last level is. But I'll say this, I don't feel confident in my ability to do it without any death. And it would really suck to have to go back a good ways because I lost all my lives. So honestly, I can't remember in this game if it sends you back to the last time that you saved or it resumes you at the last level you were at. I honestly can't remember. Ah, I was almost to another checkpoint. I don't think this level is super long. I do know, however, I need to start paying more attention and not getting stuck on things. This guy's always made me nervous. But I like that they're kind of a throwback to the lab assistants in the first game. The fact that... God, what? Oh, the little red spinning things. That's what hit me. It's okay. I know what I'm doing. Sorta. Yeah, I love these guys are kind of like a lab or a throwback to kind of how the lab assistant worked in like the lab level of Crash 1, because they still have the like the whole electrical, like the fact they're charged with electricity and you have to wait. I like that. It's a nice touch. Oh god. Oh god, I'm stuck. Oh god, I'm stuck. Shit. That's alright though. I have an okay amount of lives and I'm nearly to the end of the game, so not a big deal. We'll say that is a complaint I actually have about this particular game, is how easy it is to completely lost my train of thought there. Whatever. Wasn't that important anyways, I'm sure. If it was important, I would have remembered it, right? So the name Spaced Out makes me feel like the last level is also a jetpack level. But I guess we're gonna see. And then it's just the disappointing boss fight with Cortex. So we are almost done, guys. Oh! Okay. Yep. It's this level. Remember when I said earlier that the other level of this theme was my least favorite in the game? Nope, it's this level. Holy fucking god, do I hate this level. Like, every problem I had with the first level of this warp room is amplified so much with this one. The awkward timing, the insulting level placement. This might actually make me have to... The fact that there are floating platforms that kill you. This might actually take a good while. So, I hope you guys are enjoying this, because it might last a while. Holy crap. I absolutely hate this level. Like, look at this. Okay, so this is exactly what I have for a problem with this level. Anytime where you could go down and slide into him, he has his tentacles down. Anytime where you could jump on top of him, he has his tentacles up. So your only real option is to jump over him. And it's not that hard, but you'll find other enemies with similar things like this. You have a very brief opportunity to slide at him, which... I remind you, you can't do it at a standstill. That right there was basically a trap to try and get you to jump on top of him and then get yourself killed. This part restricts your jumping ability to the most awkward points. Everything about cruel, malevolent level design is right here in this level. In fact, you know what? I take it back what I said about the B level. This, without a doubt, is my least favorite level in the game. And on top, I had honestly forgotten about this level. In fact, this level might actually be my least favorite level in the Naughty Dog trilogy. To be entirely honest. Just the enemy placement and timing is awkward and obtuse. And see, like that, it makes you go through the level at a snail's pace. That was me. That was entirely my fault. And I'm afraid I can no longer look at the chat because my phone died. Sorry, guys. Ah, son of a bitch. I should have jumped on it. Like I said, this is going to take a while, and I might actually end up getting a game over and having to come back to it. Oh boy. Glad I saved before this level. Ah, son of a bitch! And that's another thing. There are so... Like this, right here, this is the perfect opportunity to use save states if you're going to use save states in a game. Because... some people may say it's cheating, but... so much of this level... it's just like... learn this enemy pattern, learn exactly when to do it, and then go through all this other bullshit without a checkpoint in between. See, I know there's a... I guess I could do the, like, crouch jump, but, fuck it. I'll just really hope that I don't end up getting a, oh, God. I'll just really hope that I don't get a game over. Oh my god, I hate this. Again, just malevolence with the architecture and game design. I guess what I'm supposed to do is completely jump over this and ignore that enemy. But still, and then you got shit like that. I just feel like it betrays everything that you've, like, learned up to this point. Because it misdirects you in how you think you're supposed to tackle parts of this game. Jesus. Like, the end is right there, and they throw that one last little bit of bullshit to really just stick it to you. That last little tiny bit of, ha, gotcha. Oh, shit. I'm almost there, though. I'm almost there. I'm gonna make it through this. Oh, it gave me a pity mask. How lovely. And I can't even use it. Because I fucked up there. I was gonna just use it to take care of the shrink ray at the end of this level, but... Okay. That's right. Jump over it. Don't slide under. Alright. Well, thank God that's over. Save, take on Cortex, and then game over. So, this actually didn't go too horribly. Sit back and watch Cortex and rants. You know, and this is another thing I don't get about the story. I can assume that, like, Cortex assumes that Crash is like, yeah, no, you're evil, and you very obviously were trying to keep my sister from telling me to kick your ass. But as soon as you get into this level, he starts running from you. I never really understood that. Although I will say, the controls that they did choose work much better. Like, the controls that they chose for the jetpack work much better, like, in this boss fight. Because now you're just holding the accelerate button. There's too much, like, finicky stuff that you had to stop and go with. Because now it makes sense, like, oh, normal flying controls, up, down, left, right, and you have an accelerate button, that's fine. This really is a terrible boss fight. I know we almost got to the end, but it really is a terrible boss fight. And there we go! We beat Crash Bandicoot 2! So, weekend streams are kind of an inconsistent thing. Yeah, I'm not going to grab all the gems. Screw you. So, because of just schedules changing every now and then for me, weekend streams are something a little inconsistent, but in general, you guys can expect that I will be streaming every Tuesday through Friday from 5 to 7. And you can always follow us at our Twitter, at Gamecidal, if you ever have any questions about anything. Like, if you want to know when we're going to be streaming, when we're going to be doing things. So, yeah, and I thank you all for watching. Very much appreciate you guys watching. You watching and subscribing is what keeps me wanting to do this. And I really appreciate it. So, thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing if you choose to subscribe. And I'm very glad that you all came to watch. Hopefully I'll see you all next time, Tuesday, 5 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time, whatever. And I will see you then. Until next time.